Hey, this is Trey Passer, and this is my movie review of Colombiana with spoilers. Okay, this movie stars Zoe Saldana, Michael Vartan, and Lenny James. And this is a basic revenge movie. Okay, as you can see from the trailer, uh, this is basically a movie about a young girl who grew up in Colombia. Her father works for a local drug lord. He's basically was their accountant, and he's, I guess, trying to retire, and he hands over supposedly all the information on the drug lord's operations to him, and says goodbye. They toast, and he leaves. But of course, the drug dealer is never going to let him get away with that. Okay, thinking that he has some kind of leverage on him, and he's not going to let him walk away. So what he does is he sends a team of hitmen to kill him. But before that happens, her father sits her down, and Zoe Saldana, her character in the movie, her name is Catalea. I mean, that's the right pronunciation of the name. Anyway, he sits her down and explains to her, okay, he gives her a special disc and tell her, this is your passport. Then he gives her an address in Chicago. He said, once you get to the States, you go to this address, and the people there will take care of you. Okay, and then, of course, right on cue, Don Luis, the drug lord, his men pull up. They blast all the hitmen, the guardians that he had, trying to protect him, and he kills her family right in front of her. And of course, she's traumatized by this, but traumatized up to a point, because the lead hitman for Don Luis comes to her. He sits her down and he talks to her, and he's trying to find out where this disc is, and he basically tells her, all good girls do the right thing, and you do want to do the right thing, Catalea. And she shakes her head yes. He said, well, what do you want to do? And she pulls out a knife from underneath the table and says, I want to kill Don Luis. And she stabs him in the hand, and she takes off. And there's a great sequence where they're chasing her through the streets, and they're shooting at her. She's dumping and dodging, but she's a survivor. And of course, there wouldn't be a movie if she didn't survive. Of course, so she survives, and she makes her way to the American embassy, where she hands over the information, and she gets a passport to America. And once she's in America, she, of course, ditches the feds and goes to the address on the piece of paper her father gave her, and it's her uncle, who's like the local gangster, and she basically wants him to teach her how to be a killer. Okay, she had a picture on one of the notebooks that she had of Xena, warrior princess, but she said, I don't want to be Xena anymore. I want to be a killer. Okay, and her uncle tells her basically, listen, anybody can be a killer. Okay, but you need to have smarts and brains. He says, so you need to go to school. Okay, and then right there they flash forward like 15 years, and then you see Zoe Saldana. That's when she makes her first appearance in the movie. And there's a great sequence where she pretends to be drunk, and she hits a cop car, and she gets taken to the local prison, and of course, and she gets thrown into the drunk tank. She's pretending to be drunk, and one of Don Luis's men gets put into one of the cells by a bounty hunter. And of course, there's a great scene right there where they show her. Of course, she's not drunk. She basically she does this thing where she pulls up her dress, pulls out the pins from her hair from the fake wig, and then she falls through the air ducts, and she winds up killing one of Don Luis's men. And then later you find out through the introduction of Lenny James, who's the FBI agent who's been tracking these killing of Don Luis's men, that she's been killing systematically over the past 5 years, been killing all of his men, for revenge, and because she's trying to get to Don Luis, who's actually being protected by the Americans. Okay, and basically this movie is a great revenge movie. And what I want to say basically about this movie is that Zoe Saldana is fantastic in it. She's a great action star. There's no point in the movie where you go, oh, I don't believe that she can handle these weapons. That's impossible. She's doing kicks, she's kicking people's ass, and she's jumping and diving over things, and she's driving the car. You fully believe it because she totally sells it, and her acting is actually top notch. You actually feel for her. And there's another great scene where she breaks into the FBI agent's home, who's supposed to be trying to track her, and she wants to get the address of where Don Luis is being protected. And of course, the FBI agent can't get it because he's being protected by the CIA, and she basically tells him, as you see in the trailer before, that unless you give me the address, I'm going to kill. She picks up a picture of his family, his two daughters and his wife, and he said, I'm going to make you feel what I felt every day since I was 10. He's telling him basically she's going to start killing every member of his family until he gives her the address of Don Luis. And you actually believe her because Zoe Saldana absolutely sells this, and you really believe he's going to do, that she's going to do this to him. And so of course he goes to the local, CIA agent, that he's been trying to contact throughout the, who's been ignoring him throughout the movie, and tries to impress upon him that, hey, this girl's going to kill my family unless you give me that address. And he said, well, that's not my problem. And of course, and then all of a sudden you see a red dot on the CIA agent's chest. And she tells him basically to give me the ad, and she shoots, I think, right above his head into the window. And of course he fesses up, and he probably craps all over himself and gives the address, to the FBI agent, who passes on to Zoe Saldana. And of course there's a great action sequence towards the end where she's basically, she loads up for, this is the part that you've been waiting for, her revenge. And she loads up in a big truck, and she crashes through this protected community, and she's killing people left and right. I mean, she's just slicing and dicing and going. And there's a great sequence where she fights the lead hitman for Don Luis in the bathroom, the same guy she stabbed earlier in the movie. And there's a great, I think the scene goes on for like 5 minutes, just hand-to-hand combat in a bathroom, a little enclosed bathroom, where they're throwing a gun with a towel, a gun, a sink. It's everything. It's just a great action sequence for like 5 minutes. It sort of reminds me of the Bourne Legacy, that frenetic style that that Matt Damon fought like that. It sort of reminds me of that, but it's a great sequence. And of course, she gets her revenge without telling you what she does to Don Luis, which I think you want to see that. But she gets her revenge. The only part of the movie that I didn't quite buy was Michael Vartan, who was an Alias, who was played a potential love interest, and they had a scene or two where it's set up where they slept together, and you supposedly think that they have this deep connection. I didn't totally quite buy this, but like I said, I like Michael Vartan anyway from Alias, and he's a good actor, but I think that part was underwritten. And anyway, another note, this movie was written by Luc Besson, who of course did Leon, Nikita, and a bunch of other great movies. So, like I said, I highly recommend this movie to anybody who wants to see it, because I think, and one other thing I forgot to mention, the little girl that plays Catalina as a little girl, in that first opening sequence, I think she's absolutely fantastic. Her name is, I wrote it down so I can remember. It's Amandla Steinberg. I think she has potential to be a great future star. She's fantastic. But back to Zoe Saldana, I think she was fantastic in this movie, and she has a future as an action star. I mean, I totally, like I said before, I totally buy her, all the action scenes that she did, all the crazy, all the emotional stuff, and even, like I said, the physical stuff. Her wielding the weapons and the subterfuge and everything. I totally believed all of that. It wasn't a point where I said, this is unbelievable. She can't, this little 90-pound girl can't do this. It totally sold it to me. So that's my review. If I give this a review, I'd give this 3.5 stars. I can highly recommend this. Okay, and my final words are, did you see the movie? Did you like it? Did you hate it? What did you like about it? Okay, leave your comments below. And would you recommend this movie to people? I would definitely recommend this movie to people. Okay, and this is Trey Passionate saying, take care and be well.